Hi guys, Dark Aperture here. Let me check if my mic is on. Yep. So, this is Just Tech episode 6. Now, what I've been getting, some pretty decent views. I've been getting an average of 4 to 5 views. Not bad for a series that I have. Oh well. Now, this episode is all about processors. And the first thing is, what processor generation should you get? Should you just get Ivy Bridge now? Wait for Haswell? Or even wait further and get Broadwell? Hmm. Now this depends. Just kidding. I think you should wait for Haswell. And now there are reasons not to get Ivy Bridge and reasons not to get Broadwell. An obvious reason not to get Ivy Bridge is that it's running on a socket that's soon to be outdated, so you won't have any upgradability. It's also you also feel like an enthusiast who wants to be on top of his game. With the new graphics cards coming out, you might need the power of Haswell to run these without bottlenecking. And as for Broadwell, there's actually I can't actually find many reasons for upgrade for not waiting, other than this one reason: DDR4. Broad I don't think Broadwell's going to support DDR4, but I'm sure next year you'll see DDR4 being widely adopted, and you'll be stabbed in the back with a Broadwell CPU in DDR3. Come on, you know it's the case. And has and Haswell's only be like 10% slower and 10% faster than Ivy Bridge. It also has a good sweet spot of power efficiency, as it won't be as power efficient as Broadwell, but it's definitely a lot more power efficient than Ivy Bridge, and for a desktop user, it's efficient enough. Alright, so in the end, you should get Haswell because Ivy Bridge is about to be outdated in terms of its socket. Haswell pretty much hits the middle spot, and Broadwell is going to be eclipsed by DDR4 in the year after that. Alright, moving on. Next, I'm going to be talking bad about AMD, and it's going to be why I think Haswell is going to beat Steamroller. And there's one simple reason for this. No, two reasons. Well, first, they'll pretty much be equal in performance. If not, Intel will be able to accomplish more with one clock cycle, giving them a huge advantage. Two, Haswell is a will also consume a lot less power, so people will still not have any Steamroller laptops, as Steamroller consumes too much power to be on a laptop, not even a gaming laptop. And actually, free is also about power efficiency, since people will see the Intel platform to have more value when they look at it, because that means they can spend less on a power supply and still get in a better graphics card, because it just consumes a lot less power. And I mean a lot. If you look at the gap between Ivy Bridge and Piledriver in power consumption, you'll see what I mean. Alright, that's all I have to say. Can't really say right now. Haswell's on July. Steamroll's supposed to be probably in the summer. Okay. And the next thing, and now the next topic is, what Intel CPU is right for you? Hold on. Well, yeah, as you know, there are 5 tiers of Intel CPUs. Well, actually, no, 6 tiers. There's i7 Extreme, i7, i5, i3, Pentium, and Celeron. Now I'm going to start off the i7 Extreme. Well, the i7 Extreme is basically for the most extreme people who want the best performance out of their CPU, the best rendering, pretty much the best out of any CPU. They just want the best CPU. But would you need this to go, say, GTX 560, the Syndicate? No, you don't. You only need an i5 or even an i3 to go up to 560. Because when you're a gamer, you want to spend a little bit more on the graphics card, but not too much though, and not too little on the CPU, otherwise they'll bottleneck. It's a little more delicate than you think, and I've learned that. Okay. Well, the i7 Extreme is a 6 core, 6 threads as you know, so it's a virtual 12 core. Has the best rendering, not the best rendering performance, sorry, the Xeon has it, but unlike the Xeon, it has the best gaming performance out of a CPU. Which doesn't actually matter as much as you think, since most of the gaming is done by the graphics card. And I could prove that if I want to, but I don't like laggy Intel HD 2500 graphics. That's what my i5 has. Sandy Bridge, by the way. Okay, next is i7. Now the i7 is also for high-end users, but not quite as high-end. It's got 4 cores and 4 threads. It's a virtual 8 core. It'll also consume less power since typically the i7 is one architecture ahead of the i7 Extreme. No, the i7 Extreme has that old architecture reworked to be even more powerful than ever. Now, the i7 is the second most power consuming CPU in Intel lineup. Okay, that's pretty much all to say there. I don't know, but the Pentium Celeron maybe consume more power. You tell me. Maybe they are both on Sandy Bridge. That's a spoiler. Now down to the i5. The i5 is pretty much all you need for gaming. You don't need an i7 to do everything in game. The i5 still offers plenty of performance for gaming. It's still a quad core, so games do utilize 4 cores more often now, so the i5 will be just fine. It also consumes less power than the i7. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's also a lot cheaper. Next down the chain is the i3. Now the i3 is the least power consuming of the bunch. It's pretty much for budget gamers, mostly. Despite what you think, maybe in laptops this is good for normal users, but in desktops, the Pentium Celeron will do just fine. It's pretty solid dual core, though games are starting to take advantage of quad core, so Intel needs a quad core i3 at some point. Though when we looked at Haswell, they apparently dropped the i3. That's pretty interesting. Alright, that's pretty much it. Least power consuming, it's a dual core. And now down to the Pentium. Now the Pentium is also cheaper than the i3, not by a wide margin though, but when you're on a budget, that is $40 is pretty big. $40-50. The Pentium is also a dual core, though it's a lot weaker and based on Sandy Bridge. It's meant for people in a tighter budget. For example, if you want to do something like the $400 build I'm gonna make a video of tomorrow. Spoiler alert. It's also good for normal users who play the occasional game. Now, finally, down to Celeron. Alright, the Pentium is one of the least power efficient CPUs of the lot because it's based on Sandy Bridge, and the three are based on Ivy Bridge, and one based on Sandy Bridge E. Okay, although Ivy Bridge E is coming out soon. Now the Pentium. No wait, Celeron. The Celeron is pretty much, it's not for gaming at all. It can game, but not very well. It's a dual core, not very powerful, and it's for normal users to check the email. For the price of $40, it's actually pretty decent. And that's pretty much all I have to say for Intel CPUs. Maybe tomorrow I'll make a video on choosing what AMD CPUs rate for you, though it's not the same. And AMD doesn't have things going as high end as Intel does. So I'll sum up in a nutshell. 8350 is the i5 equivalent. The 6 core and 4 cores are both competing with the i3. The 6 core more so than the 4 core. And that's pretty much it for that. There, that's pretty much summed it up. Now one last thing is Z87 motherboards, and I can't really explain them. I don't know what they're gonna be like, so I'll just get an image up on them. You won't do the capture, you won't see the whole thing. Cause jelly beans mean everything. But judging from the fact you can't see any real circuits, and they're putting M&Ms on it, which I normally wouldn't do to a motherboard. That's a horrible idea. Just remember, putting M&Ms on a motherboard does not improve your gaming performance. But it's probably the Sabertooth Z87, if they're doing that, since the Z87 has there's protective covers, which make it a really good enthusiast board in the LG 1155. Okay. Oh, that's good. A comparison table. Uh, Z87, Z77. Let's compare right here. DIMM 4.4, B2.2, 4+2, 4.6. So apparently this one says USB 2. Display output same. 6 gigabytes per second. The Z87 has more of those. They drop SATA 3 gigabytes a second. But the Z77 still has it. Audio the same, when the same. So if you want backwards compatibility, the Z77 obviously is better. But if you want more SATA 6 gigabytes a second ports, then you want the Z87. And there's Z68. I have a P68 board, I'm pretty sure. It was so 6+8. Oh, so it seems that they have been cutting down USB 2. Not a very big leap on Intel's part. Oh well. Goes down quite a bit here. Yeah, well, I'm stretching this. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have. We'll just look at these images. Subscribe to Meteor Aperture if you enjoyed, and goodbye. Hope to see you in episode 7. And I hope you've learned something about CPUs.